Alright folks, I wanted to make a video of this winter eye back here. If you remember this field, this is where the cows were out wintering. And right over here in this hay field is where I had videos of the cows and the calves and everything. Well anyways, you can see out here the trash and the litter on the ground from out wintering the cows, which I tried light dragging it, but some of the hay was pretty crappy last year and the cows didn't eat it all, so there's big clumps of it. And the drag didn't do a very good job, so I kind of gave up on it and figured that after we graze this off, a lot of this trash will be broke down more, than I'll pull the drag over before I plant the corn. And this field is where I'm going to plant the silage corn. From here, and the field goes all the way down and then back to the shed. It's between 10 and 11 acres. So it follows the water run, and it goes around a curve, and it goes, it'll end about where the hunting shack is, kind of horseshoe shaped. Anyways, I'll chop off what I need for silage, and then I'll leave the rest and I'll combine it for pigs and the creep feeder for the calves, and I might feed some corn to the steers, I don't know. But anyways, this field back here, I picked all this corn off in middle to end of October. I put the cows out here to graze it, and then I broadcast seeded this winter eye. So this was just broadcast seeded with a spinner spreader. And then I came out and stock chopped, and I left all the stalks. I never took any, never baled them or nothing. I just left them out here. And then the cows were still out here grazing. They could eat what they want. Well, so this is where a pasture walk, this is what part of what it's going to be about. I had some questions what a pasture walk is. Well, a pasture walk is, I'm part of a grazing network, and I'm a member of it, and it's an organization that's basically deals with people who graze cattle. Most of the people that are part of this group, 100% grass. They don't feed any corn, nothing else, just grass. And then some of us, we feed corn silage and do everything, and I just rotationally graze my cows. But, so that's what the pasture walk is about, and it's it's open to all the members. And then part of what I'm doing is with NRCS, so they invite people, and there's people from the community that just come out, and it's nice because then they get to see what you're doing, how you're farming, and they get to see the animals and everything. And a lot of these people end up buying products from us. They'll buy a quarter or half of beef, or they'll buy a hog or whatever, and people like seeing the way their animal is fed and raised, so it's kind of a win-win for everybody. But anyways, so when I bought that new no-till drill, you guys saw over here I was using the old John Deere on the other side of that knob to the back. I was using it as a no-till drill, putting clover in the ground, which it is coming out of the ground. But after I bought the new no-till drill, I came out here just playing with it, which I interseeded clover here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not, but right down here, that's clover popping up out of the ground in that furrow. Now, what I've learned playing with this drill is it doesn't have the right wheels in the back behind the openers. Everywhere I've looked for parts does not have an inch or an inch and a half wide firming wheel. They have a 4-inch wide gauging wheel. And I have, when I bought it, it was set as to plant as shallow as it would go. So, I came out here and dropped it down on the ground and went. Well, the problem is the disc openers are wider than what the wheel is. So the wheel is just it's not really gonna gauge it at all. Well, as you can see here, in spots there's clover coming, in other spots there's not. Well, you dig down in here and it's planted about 2 inches deep. Well, that's too deep. So I went on Shoop, and I can get those gauging wheels, which double as a firming wheel. They're 50, what are they, 55.95 a wheel, and I don't know if they come with the bearing or not. And the bearing's like $8 a piece. So I'm thinking I'm gonna order all new wheels for it on the back. That way it works better for planting grass. Because we all know with the smaller seed, somebody commented to me that, you know, the seed just has to be covered up based with the amount of dirt with how big around the seed is. So, and they're correct. And this was planted too deep, but that's why I was playing around with it back here, where, you know, I'm a long ways from the road back here. It's hard for people to see my mistakes. So, but that that's kind of what's going on, and I just kind of wanted to show this winter eye. You can see broadcasting it in October. They say in Wisconsin it's too late. Well, obviously it wasn't too late last year. I'm sure on years that we have really cold really early, it might be too late. But you can see, like, there was a corn stalk bale fed here. Excuse me. And there's too much trash here, and I'm sure the cows probably laid here. And it seems like if you get rid of the snow cover in the wintertime, it'll kill out stuff that's underneath it, or if not kill it, it'll set it way back. But so with the pasture walk, I'm gonna start grazing the cows at the beginning by the shed, and then I'm gonna use the poly wire and just advance the poly wire so much every day, give them so much to eat, but then they can back graze all the way back to the shed and go back for water. Normally I have a poly wire in front of them and I have a poly wire behind them, and then I haul water out to the cows. In this particular situation, I'm not going to do it, because as soon as I'm done grazing it off, it's getting planted with corn. So they can have whatever they want that's behind them. I'm just going to limit how much new stuff they get every day. And the idea of this is to try and let the pastures get a little bit farther ahead before we graze them. And like right now, obviously, they're over in the hill in that new field, grazing that off, and then they're going to come here and graze this, and then they'll go up on the hill. And that hill is north facing, so the steeper parts of the hill are they're quite a bit farther behind from the rest of it. So I'd like to let that grow more before the cows get out there. And normally with that, I rotationally graze. I normally rotationally graze everything. I move the cows every day. But now, I logged this hill off 3 years ago now. And I mean, there's stuff growing, but it's taken a while. We just broadcast seeded, or hand seeded, medium red clover and orchard grass up there, and it's filling in on its own. But it's really hard to rotationally graze that. It's hard to move a wire and set up pigtail posts and stuff every day. So on that hill, I just put them back there for X amount of days, and then I move them. And now with that other fencing off those other woods with that field, I might be able to separate out the field so I can, you know, move the cows and everything in there. But the woods, it's hard to advance the cows every day through the woods when you have all the trees. So until it gets thinner where I can easily throw up a poly wire, you know, to ration what I'm feeding them, it's kind of going to be either going to go there for a week or 10 days or 4 days or 2 days, whatever it takes for them to clean it off, and then they're getting moved. Ideally, I don't like to see them in any spot longer than 3 days, but it is what it is. Something is better than nothing. But so that's kind of what the pasture walk is about this year. It'll be that winter rye field up front, you know, showing a cover crop and then leaving it to harvest as grain, or in my case, I'm harvesting it for seed. I want to put cover crop on everything this fall. And like on this back piece is 6.5 acres. I put, I think, about a bag to the acre on, if that. Well, this year I want to put 2 bags to the acre. And on all the rental ground over there, I want to put cover crops on all that. On my fields that are north of the road where I planted corn yesterday, I want to put cover crops on there, behind the beans, behind the corn and everything. And, you know, I don't know if a bag of winter rye, I don't know if it's 50 pounds or 60 pounds or what it is, but it's $15–16 a bag. That gets expensive. And I want bedding for the calving pen, so might as well plant the rye, get our seed and get the bedding out of it, and there you go. But this year I'm hoping to not only plant the winter rye, but in this field when I chop it off, I'm going to plant oats, winter rye, crimson clover, and I think tillage radish. And then the oats I should be able to graze off in the fall yet. The radish, if the turnips or whatever they're doing, daikon radishes or whatever, if they grow, the cows can eat them. And then the rye and the crimson clover should be like this next year. I can graze it off, and then we'll put corn in. And then next fall, following this corn silage here, this will get no-till new seeded. And then the hill here, this 11.5 acre field, that will be corn the following year for at least 2 years, and then it'll be corn on the 10.5 acres by the road. So that's kind of what the pasture walk is about. You know, it's raising cover crops and the seed, and then this one grazing the cover crops off before crop, and that's kind of what the pasture walk is about. But I just wanted to show, if anybody's interested in the whole grazing part of it or out wintering or whatever, this is what it looks like. And obviously I put all the manure on this, you know, that I hauled this spring, so it's not just the cows right here, but when I clean the bull lot, all that manure come out here, the cow lot, that'll come out here, everything come out here. So, but this is what it looks like broadcasted in the middle of October. And I mean, if you look here, that's, you know, I mean, my hand isn't the greatest thing to go by, but, you know, if you look here, I don't know if I'm getting it or not, but I mean, it's a couple inches from my knee if you hold it up. So there's, what do I have, 17 more days approximately until a pasture walk. So I think by then this could really really grow up, and then there should be a fair amount here to graze off. So it's just something to buy a little bit more time, so the cows aren't on pasture near as long. If you're figuring that you want a 3 ton of the acre yield on your pasture in 120 days, and this year is looking like there could be, you know, 150 days you want to have them on pasture. Well, if we can graze this off for 10 days, that knocks 10 days off what the pasture has to do. So, and a lot of my pastures are hard to fertilize or anything. They're too steep. I've been on that side hill, this side hill up here, with the 40/20, and the co-op told me never do that again. So apparently they were more worried about their spreader than my 40/20 tipping over. But and then there's part of that hill, I have a hell of a time going up and down with a gator or a snowmobile, so you can't really fertilize that. So I guess after second cutting hay, I like to start grazing off the hay fields, because I can fertilize them, and then I try to let the grass on the hillside grow and create mulch. So we'll get more into that though when the time comes. But so that's just a little update on this winter rye back here. I'll try and make a video of the front field too. That one looks by far better, but that one I drilled. That one I drilled in after. Part of it was corn silage and the other part was cob corn. So that was done right around the same time as this. It's just about as tall, if not taller, but it looks better being it didn't have cows on in the wintertime. So, well guys, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.